Christian teachers, parents and pupils are increasingly facing difficulties as the education system becomes more secular. Sometimes schools feel they have no option but to follow any and all of the advice given to them by pressure groups with their own agendas and their vague appeals to the Equality Act. But what does the law really say? We're now on to the fourth video in our series, and we'll see this time that schools can't compel their teachers and pupils to endorse or celebrate a cause they disagree with. This principle is enshrined in the European Convention on Human Rights, which, for the avoidance of doubt, has no connection with the European Union. Article 9 states that everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience and religion. This includes the freedom to live out that belief publicly as well as privately. There can be limitations on how people manifest their beliefs, but there are no limitations on the freedom to hold them. And obliging someone to have or express a belief they do not actually hold is an infringement of their human rights. Article 10 says that everyone has the right to freedom of expression, specifically, without interference by public authority. This right to freedom of expression has also long been understood to include the right not to express an opinion. So how does equality law fit in? Well, the UK Supreme Court has held that equality law should not, without proper justification, be read in such a way as to compel a person to express a message with which they disagree. This amounts to a law against compelled speech and expression. Schools in particular must not compel people to express their beliefs if they do not want to. This right is also protected under Article 8, the right to a private and family life. Let's put these ideas into practice. An openly lesbian teacher repeatedly talks to her class about her partner and the child they have adopted. The classroom walls have many pro-gay marriage posters, created by children in some of her lessons. She presents students with a series of statements about the morality of same-sex relationships, and asks the students to indicate their agreement or disagreement with each. Some of the pupils think such relationships are immoral, but don't want to say so for fear of upsetting the teacher, or being called homophobic by their classmates. But a school or teacher must not compel a pupil to express their beliefs if the pupil would prefer not to. Here's an alternative approach. A teacher holds regular debates and discussions on ethical issues. Pupils are tasked with suggesting arguments on both sides of a debate and discussing the strength of those arguments. Sometimes pupils are asked to make a case on behalf of a fictitious person. Here, pupils are able to give their personal view if they choose, but that is not the focus of the lesson, and they are free to fully participate without having to disclose their own beliefs. These are examples of good and bad practice when it comes to a student's freedom to hold and withhold their own beliefs. But when might a student encounter an example of compelled speech? Suppose a teacher delivers a lesson where pupils are given a list of 23 countries where same-sex marriage is permitted. They are then given a map and told to identify any other country where it is not legal. The teacher then tells the students to write a letter to the foreign embassies of those countries, urging them to change the law. This would be compelled speech and a clear breach of students' human rights. We're almost at the end of our series, but in our final video we'll see how schools have a responsibility to balance the rights of transgender pupils with the rights of others. For more information, download a copy of Equipped for Equality, a booklet explaining all this and more in greater detail. Look out for our final video in the coming weeks.